Hey folks, welcome back. Dr. Dan in Dungeon, and today should be the final day of the Slow Speed Carbide Grinder build. And so what I'm doing now is I mocked up the table in the last video, and here I've got it sitting in approximately the position that I want it. And so this is just mocked up, set up on a set of parallels and a indicator base. What I'm going to do, and actually in keeping with the theme of the build, I wanted to use material that I had in hand. Well, I have this aluminum bar stock that I actually did have in hand. And so what I've done is I've cut these to length and cleaned up the ends on the mill. And I'm going to use a set of blind hole transfer punches. And if you don't know what these are, everybody needs a set. And so basically this is the driver. And this set's for 1/4 20 to 3/8 16, I believe. And so you've got the little punch there. You see that nice and clearly? All right. And so what we do is we stick this in the little blind hole punch and then we screw it in. And here you can see that I have it already screwed in with the punch just sticking out. I've got this blued up, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide this back out of the way, out of engagement. I'm going to slide this up where I want it, and I think what I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'm going to clamp that on there, and then I'm going to move this over and I'll move it around. So we'll be back in just 1 second. Okay, so I've got that clamped in there, and then so right now I've got this resting up, and you can see I've built in some space there. I'm actually going to cut that back by probably about 50 thousandths so I can actually move the, and so now I got that, and I should, when I remove that, have a corresponding mark. There it is. And so I'm going to drill that as a through hole for a 1/4 inch bolt. And then I'll probably, I think I'm just going to do the other, I'll do the other one the same way, and then that way I've got matched up. And then I'll probably contour the corners of this just a little bit to kind of match the radius, but not a whole lot, probably just the top of it. Alright, so we'll get the setup in the mill and we'll drill that, and then we'll test fit it and see how we do. Alright folks, we got that lined up, and I just got a little jobber length of spot, and I'll just go ahead and screw drill it with that. And then I got a little 1/4 inch jobber to drill it the rest of the way. And then I'm going to go ahead and counterbore that as well. Back in a sec. I think I'll go ahead and touch the other side with that as well. Actually, no, I'm not going to. I'll do that one by hand off camera. But all right, so there we go. Hey folks, back here, and so I went ahead and I laid out the other side and drilled the trunnion hole for a 1/4 inch through hole, and I'm glad that I did it that way instead of just doing a mirror image of this one. They were close, but they weren't that close, and I'm not surprised because, you know, it's a sheet metal housing. And so, you know, a little bit of variation there, not surprising. It was pretty darn close. I mean, actually, if I'd have done that, it probably would have worked out okay. It might have just had a little bit of a constriction on it. So now what I'm doing is I'm going to set up, I've actually already drilled one, but I've got these set up. The 2 trunnion holes are facing each other, and I'm going to drill the through holes, and I'm going to put quarter 20 screws in here that will actually I'm going to drill into that base. Now that base is a pretty substantial base. It's 1.25 inches thick. Mystery steel, I have no idea. It was in my scrap pile. I don't even know where it came from. But so got this one, so that's 1 inch, and I'm going to do the next one at 4 inches. I'll put about right there, and that is more or less 1 inch from each end. Close enough. It is 1 inch from this end. This end's a little, you know, again, we're dealing with a sheet metal housing, so there is some variability there. So I've got that, and then I'll countersink it for the quarter 20 screws that I have, which have a countersunk head. And so we'll be back again here in just a minute. I'm going to go ahead, I'll drill this other one, and then we'll go ahead and get the countersink, and we'll countersink them. All right, back in a minute. All right, here we go. I got the countersink in, got these. I'm going to countersink that nice and deep. I'll do the other side off camera. Actually, I could go, yeah, it'd be all right. All right, we can live with that. So let's go ahead and put our 1/4 inch drill in. I'm going to step off our 4 inches. And maybe it's 3 inches. Yeah, I think I want 3 inches. I gotta go measure. Measure twice, cut once. Back in a second. All right, glad I looked at that. Yeah, it was 3 inches from this whole 4 inch total overall. All right, folks, I just got, I was going to make some aluminum handles, but, you know, just a lot faster to drive something up in Fusion and 3D print with less than 30 minutes, and I got 2 knobs, and they turned out really nice. So, that's 1.5 inch long 1/4 20 bolt, and so I just, that. Nicely contoured, feels really good in the hands. So yeah, I'm pretty excited. Now we're going to put these together here. I'll show you how I'm going to do that. And so I make these to be just a bit of a press fit. And let's see. So, you know, it's nice and snug, and that's what you want. And I'll just set it down over that and lightly tap. And then I get a 7/16 wrench to get my flats lined up, just like so. And there it is. Perfect. So, couldn't be happier with those. All right, back in a minute. All right, and I did mark these. Yeah, that's the side. It goes to this side. And just set those in there. Looks like I need to run a tap back through there. But that's how it's going to be. And I can tell I got just a little bit of, yeah, I don't know if you can see it there, but this one's just towed in just the slightest amount. Might not make any difference, but we'll just get set up on this here in just a sec, and we'll see what we got. I can adjust that hole if I need. Hey folks, welcome back. All right, so I have our little handles in place. I've got everything squared up. I got it squared up to the back. I got it flush here. It's squared up on the back there, flush back there. And now I'm going to use those transfer punches to mark the hole, the locations for those, and then I will drill those as a number 7, which is the tap drill size for 1/4 20, and I'm going to tap those holes. So here we go, and you know, I outlined these punches the other day. All right, very, very handy little tools, and then I need to flip it around to do the other side. So anyhow, that'll give me my marks. I'll drill those out. I'm probably just going to do that with a hand drill, and because this is a little ungainly to put up in the mill. All right, be back in a few. All right, we're going to keep doing that on all 4 sides till we get them all to depth, and then we'll tap them out. All right, we're just going to go ahead and tap this in place. Being very gentle. Last thing I want to do is break a tap off in this. And we'll just do the same thing on the other side. Catch you in a few. All right, folks, there we go. So I got the pieces in there. Not perfect alignment, but it's good enough. One thing I have found is that I'm going to make these about twice as big in order to get the amount of torque on there that I want. I can lock it up pretty good, but that's about all I want to do. So I still have to, I'm going to take probably about 50 thousandths off this back edge here so that I can get my 5-degree angle or thereabouts for grinding. I still have to do the 4 magnets in the backer plate, and I also still need to do a drive pin. But you know, if I want to take it off, so really happy with this. This is turning out quite nicely. And so like I said, I'm going to take a little bit more off of the ends there, and I think that will straighten up the last little issues we have with this. I'm going to go make modifications to this drawing and reprint those, like I said, twice as big as what they are, and they'll be perfect. All right, back in a flash. Hey folks, welcome back. Just got a couple things left to finish up. Going to do a couple things on the mill, and then I'm probably going to chuck this back up in the lathe. I'm going to turn this nubbin down so that it just sits flush with the rim of that. So I'm going to put the magnets in, and so the magnets that I have, rare earth, they're 0.4, I think. What are they? Yeah, 394, and so that's not, I don't have any end mills that are that close. An X drill is 400 thousandths. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to set up an XYZ, you know, I don't haven't even figured out what I'm going to use just yet as far as the spacing. I'll probably just look and see what makes sense to me. It'll probably be an inch. I'll do that. What I've done is I just took, that's a 5/16 center that we reamed, 5/16 drill. It sets in there nicely, and looks like I might could go just a hair. Yeah, there we go. So 5/16 drill gets me centered up close enough. So I'm going to do the one, and basically I'm going to leave the quill up, and then I'm just going to feed down with the table and try and figure out where a good spot is. Now what this will do is it'll leave a little, you know, basically a little point underneath where the magnet will be, but that shouldn't be a big deal. But we'll see. And then I also am going to put a drive pin, and so I've got a small roll pin here that it's I think 104 thousandths or something like that around in its relaxed state. And then I've got I think a number 35 drill, which is 94 thousandths, which should make a nice snug fit on that. If not, I can open it back up. But when I drill that, I'm going to do that here in the hub area, so that I'm not into the diamond area, and we'll see how it goes. But I'll probably just put you on time lapse because, you know, this is me kind of boring, but we'll see in a few. All right, that wasn't too bad. I think those are going to work out just fine. And off camera, I went back and I just touched a counterbore, or excuse me, a countersink to those holes just to break the edges. I'm going to put some 2-part epoxy down in the hole. I'll drop those in, and we'll let it set up overnight, and those will be good. You notice that I went ahead and put the diamond grit honing, whatever the heck you call them. My mind's going blank. Help me. Anyhow, I put those on, went ahead and drilled this, and it's I used 350 thousandths from zero. So 350 thousandths from here up and to the left. And so that worked out well. It wound up in the hub where there's no diamond grit, so I didn't mess up my drill bit. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put this up. I'm going to chuck it back up in the lathe, and I'm going to turn down this nubbin to the diameter of the discs, the honing discs, and then I'll go ahead and glue this up. And then the last thing I'll do today is I'll take the table, and I'm going to have to remove one of the jaws to clamp my table back in there. And I'm going to wind up taking about 50 thousandths off of this edge, and I think that should be just about right to be able to get my 5-degree angle that I'm looking for. And then later, if I want to make that more, if I want to be able to get more of an angle, I can just take a little bit more off there. Though honestly, I think 50 thousandths will be about all I need to take off. So back in a bit. Hey folks, welcome back. Doc D in a Dungeon. Just finished up construction on this yesterday evening, and red Loctited the drive wheel, the backer wheel, and so here we go. As you can tell, I've already used it this morning to make sure everything works. But so I've got 4 magnets on the back side of the backer plate. I've got a little drive dog there. My table is set up, and it just dead ends. It's somewhere between 5 and 6 degrees. It's close enough. What I will say is that it's a little underpowered. I was doing a larger grinder, or a larger carbide piece this morning, and so long as I took it easy, it was fine. But you know, I can't be hogging with it. but for what I'm doing, it'll be perfect. Let's see. Yeah, real nice. I'm happy with that. So there we go, 3 videos putting this together. I've worked on this for the last, I don't know, 3 weeks or so, just piece by piece by piece, but basically everything here has been built by me with stuff that was in the shop. I did 3D print the tightening wheels, and yeah, ordered these lapping discs. I've got a 240, 600, and I have a 1200 that I think will be here today or tomorrow. It was supposed to be here a week ago, but it still hasn't showed up. So yeah, check out my other videos on scraping. I'm going to do another scraping video coming up probably next week. I have a 9-inch Keith Rucker Camelback straight edge that I'm going to scrape in. And so hopefully you've enjoyed the content. Please like and subscribe. Visit me on my Patreon page. Doc D out. Have a great week.